What up, though? Just pulling like a couple more things up with a combo. We ain't premium right now, so I can't play videos. So just bear with me. Bear with me. Let's go. What up, though? It's the word. You see the title. We about to get into it, but before we do that, let me get to the chat. Let me get it to the chat. Dee 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 dee. What up, though, Dee Dee? Appreciate you. Not atmosphere, my guy. What it do? What the business is, man? Always good to see you, brother. Always good to see you. Hey, what up, y'all? Hey, come on now. Why you gotta you want to bother me this whole time? Now you want to come over here when I go live. Go on, sit down. No, you can't get on my lap. You're too big. Go on. My bad. My dog tripping. Go on. Before you knock my coffee over. Go on. Come on. Let's go. Okay. What up, y'all? Yeah, today's combo, man, we're gonna talk about how the biggest deception that you can experience in life. Come on. Sorry. My bad. Okay. Not mic'd up like that. So tonight's conversation, what we talking about? What we talking about? Where all right, tonight's conversation is the biggest deception a person can experience in life is their own perception. I'm sorry, is their own perception. And what do I mean by that? Well, we're gonna unpack all that. But we know what deception is. Let me see if I can pull this definition up real quick. My bad. I'm not paying for this, so I'm having a little bit more technical difficulties navigating. But dang, won't let me pull it up. That's wild. That's wild. Okay, so I can't even pull it up. Share screen. Share. I gotta put it in the PDF. You can't do nothing when you ain't paying for this, bro. Yeah, so the realest one is in the building. What to do with the business is. I gotta hit y'all with these definitions. Hold on. I know there's a way I can do this. No, there's a way. Oh, did I close it out? I think I closed it out. That's why. No, it's right here. Okay, I didn't have it pulled up. Now I should be able to. Okay, now I should be able to pull it up. My bad, y'all. I am not. Okay, now let me see if I can pull that up. If not, I can just read y'all the definition because we all adults. You can look it up yourself. Mr. Gary Busted Down Brown. What it do with the business is nine. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Can y'all hear me okay? Am I coming in loud and clear? All right. So, what do I mean by the biggest deception you can experience in life is your own perception? Uh, we're going to get into it. Let me break these words down. We're going to break it down to the atom, though. We're going to break it down to the atom so we have a clear understanding because when we know better, then we can do better, right? And there's a reason why I say this. Once I break these two words down and we see how, uh, see what they mean and how it associates with us, you get a clear understanding of what I'm trying to say, what I'm articulating to you. So, by definition, deception in the Merriam Dictionary is deception, fraud, double dealing, suffered, tricky means or the act or practices of one who deliberately deceives. So, by by definition, is to be deceived, is to be hoodwinked, is to get someone to accept a falsehood as reality. But Files, what it do with the business is, family. Appreciate you. Um, it involves of distorting the truth. So it's to accept fiction for fact, right? That's what deception is, right? So we all experience on different levels being deceived, being misled, you know, but it's based predicated upon this word right here, perception. All right, what is the meaning of perception? The ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses, right? So this is taking in raw data, raw information, using our senses, right? Hearing, taste, touch, smell, sight, right? And the two most used senses is sight and hearing, you know, and predicated upon what we see and what we hear is how we view. So perception is the raw ability. There's no um, cultivating a skill to gain this. So everyone has it. Everyone has a perception, right? And just like anything, everything needs to be grown, everything needs to be matured, everything needs to be developed. And oftentimes, in a lot of cases, people don't develop perception because when you develop perception, it turns into something else. It turns into perspective, right? Two different words. People associate them, try to correlate them like they're the same thing, but they're not. Perception and perspective is two different things. Perspective is when you take all that information and you rationalize it, you observe it, you analyze it to see what's right and wrong. And oftentimes, perspective equates to non biasness. So basically, seeing things for what they are. You know, perception is solely based on how we choose to look at it. So when I say the biggest deception you can experience in life is your own perception, it's because the worst wound one can ever endure is one inflicted on oneself because it becomes a choice to hurt self. And by not developing or understanding what a perception is or why we look at things the way we do, it's self mutilation. We're doing self harm, you know, and it's lazy work. Not only is it lazy, but by doing so, you could prevent a lot of things, right? So, what makes your perception, wow, I got the wrong in the sentence. What makes the perception, your perception, the way you look at things deadly, is looking through it naively or even worse, ignorantly. Two different words they always associate, naive and ignorant. But ignorant is by choice, naive is because you just don't know, right? But We all experience that on some level, especially when it comes to interacting with people. We might be in love, and because we're in love, we tend to overlook things. You know, we might justify someone's bad behavior because of an emotion, the way we feel. But then when you break up, you start looking back like, man, I seen this red flag, I seen that red flag. So why didn't you do anything? It was because your perception, right, is the way you chose to analyze and look at things. And even though you seen clear signs that you shouldn't go this way or you shouldn't deal with this person, you ignored it. Why did you ignore it? Because you built a delusion. And having bad perception skills will lead to one being delusional, right? We know what delusional means. Trying to make something wrong right. Trying to make something that we know is false true. You know, that's what a faulty perception will do. It can lead you to delusion, and it's levels to it, right? Each dad, what it do with the businesses, missing mine. What up, nine? Hey man, I've been in the bushes, but I've been catching the show. I've been catching your shows. I wanted to hop on the panel the other day, but the kids, man, they running me, right? So that's how you know when you're in that realm of delusion, when you start justifying things that you know are wrong, right? When we start justifying, and our perception is how is the perception built? A lot of it is built predicated upon our own personal experiences. You know, that's probably 80% of how perception is built is your own personal experience, how you relate to things. That's how you choose to look at it. So, and we know that your own personal experience, you might have had a bad experience. So now you look at it bad. I'll give you an example. I had a coworker, his daughter was robbed by a black man, right? So because he went through that traumatic experience with, his daughter being robbed and he couldn't defend her and all that, he built a perception that black men are bad because of this experience he had. That's understandable because the experience, but it's not acceptable, right? Because you can't predicate a whole one experience that you have with one person. You can't justify it by hating a whole group of people because this individual did something, you know. And people build biasness and it becomes delusional. People will die on that sword because they had a bad experience with something, so it's just completely bad. Not taking various factors, not taking in various factors like maybe it was the environment, maybe it was some type of stimuli or influence that happened and made this person do it. You don't, it's too many variables to look at before you just say all one people is this or all one people is that. And like I said, it's levels to it because a lot of people do this, create biasness. If it comes like gay people, or all gay people are bad because it's a sin, or is this, is that, is that. When in actuality, it's good and bad people in every walk of life. No matter what they beliefs, no matter what they practice, it's good and bad people, and that's just a human nature to be either good or bad. It's just a human thing. It's not because they this, they that. Now you have instances where you can identify different behaviors by the traits. Yeah, we do have that, but you can't say all one thing is this if you have examples of it being something else too. That's where the delusion or the perspective becomes built. And like I said, we are probably guilty of that, having a delusional perception and accepting it. And that's the another part that makes your perception dangerous because this is something you choose to accept. So if you choose to accept ignorant, then you look at life in an ignorant way. That's just what happens. That's just what most people do. That's what a lot of people do. But it's dangerous. It's very dangerous because it puts you in a position where you're viewing something from a bias, and it can cost you your life. It can cost you opportunities. Um, it can cost you, and it often does. Like I give you an example. People often hurt themselves because they say life ain't fair, right? Like life is supposed to be fair for anybody. Like Jesus Christ got nailed to a cross. This is the Son of God. So how was that fair to him? Is babies born with disabilities and deformities every day. How's that fair to them? Life wasn't created to be fair. But some people built this delusion that they're suffering more than other people. And in some cases, yeah, you might, but it's always someone worse off than what you are. Always, you know. Just because you in the midst of the storm don't mean other people's storms are minute or smaller. Some people have bigger storms and never complain about it because they understand it's just a process of life. That's part of life. That's what comes with it. Living this life comes with struggles, just like it comes with uh, joy. Is what your perception is. Do you focus more on the pain or do you focus more on the good, the joy? Life isn't fair. It wasn't built to be fair. If life was fair, it'd be easy for everybody. And we also built delusional perspectives or perception by viewing other people. We look at other people like I got a house, I got a beautiful wife, two beautiful healthy kids, I got a dog, I got a white picket fence, you know. And some people may look on the outside like, man, he got it. But then you see what I have to endure every day. Like, would you go through this to have this? So we view other people and then we tend to gauge ourselves. I'm not gonna say we, but when you build a delusional perception predicated upon someone else's experience, it's variables involved. You don't know what a person went through to get where they at, right? Whether they're in a good position or a bad position. You ever see a rich person go broke? People be like, wow, man, if I was that rich, I'd never go broke. You don't know what happened. Company could have went under. Somebody could have stole money. Family could have set them up. It's different things that could happen. So you couldn't say if you was in that person's position, this wouldn't happen or that wouldn't happen. You don't know how that person got there. You might see somebody in the street one day begging for food. Like I don't never want to be that person. And the next day you might see them driving a Maserati because they hit the lottery. We tend to view people and where they at in life, what stage they at, and then judge ourselves or compare it or contrast it against ourselves. That's something that I didn't know the detriments of that, right? I didn't really know the detriments of that. And when I learned, I never did it again. Never did it. Because you will start trying to do or be something and you don't know what it comes with. Everybody want to be famous until they hear the story about the casting couch. You got to get bent over to make it there. Like, nah, but you know what I'm saying? Some people might be willing to do it. I know I'm not one of them people. So nah, I'm straight. If that's what it takes, or if that's like a high probability to be famous, I'm good, man. I don't want to be known. I'm good. Some people sell out their mama for a biscuit and a beer. Some people wouldn't do it for all the money in the world, and that's predicated upon perception. Like you can have the intention and the action of doing right by someone, but their perception, you might be being nice to them to get close to them. You might be being nice to them to ask them for a favor later. When your intention is just to be a good person and you're doing all the right things, but they don't value that. Why? It's because of the way they look at stuff. Maybe they've been hurt their whole life. So they never really experienced somebody being genuine to them. I experienced this a lot with people. Just being real, I experienced this a lot with people. Sometimes people haven't had that experience of someone being genuine to them, just being nice to them because that's who they are. So when you do nice things or you try to be a friend or whatever, they actually fall back or they start pulling away because no, it's something else coming because that's what they experience. They ain't looking at it for what it is. And I learned you can't even be mad at people for that, right? Can't even really be mad because no matter what you do, they already got this built-in perception, and it might be delusional, but that's predicated upon the experience. Maybe they just never experienced. I hear people talk about love. Love is overrated. Love is this. Love is that, because they might not have received it genuinely. They might not have received it, so the only experience they have with love is something negative. So that's how they associate it. That's how they look. That's how they perceive. That's their perception of love. But then you get someone who really had pure, genuine love, they can tell you something else. That's their perception because of their experience. So our perceptions, I'm not saying solely built on our experience because we can choose to change, right? And that's where the word perspective come in. Because maybe I haven't experienced, but someone else has had. And when they explain it, now I can identify it. Now I can identify, okay, yeah, I didn't have love in my life like this, but this person have. They gave me an example. So if I do get it, I know how I look compared to what I experienced. Now I know how I look. I had to experience certain things like that. Even like I didn't like even like I tell you, I never cheated on a girl. I'm not gonna say I was the best person when it came to women when I was younger, because if I wasn't with you, I wasn't with you, and I used you like a doorknob. I used you, but I wasn't with you. Like if you open them legs to let me crack and I didn't commit to you, then that's your fault. That's how I looked at it. I didn't value it, you know. So I use women, um, yeah, for sex. I never used them for like money or nothing like that, or to get an advance. No, I used them because I wanted to get off. So yeah, and then we wasn't committed. It was two consensual adults. You agree to do it, okay, without being together, cool. You just want to have fun, but then people catch feelings. I wasn't one of them people who caught feelings because we did something. I just wasn't that. So, and I always was up front, like, hey, I'm not gonna take you serious if we do this, and people still did it. So, I mean, I had a warning label on it. They just chose to ignore it. They thought like, oh, if I give it to him, he'd fall in love. Like, no, no, I won't. I just want to crack, right? And that's just being honest. I'm being honest with you. So at one point in my life, I just felt like, man, women. I didn't feel like women can be loyal. I felt like all women they'd deal with you until something else better come along. That was my perception. That's how I looked at it. Then I met my wife, right? And I knew, like, look, I do know some loyal women, some good women. I do. I just haven't experienced it yet. So maybe if I give her a chance, she'll show me. And that's what she did. Even to this day, she showed me that to this day, how loyal she is. Even her being like submissive and obedient, never asked for it, but she shows it to me. And that's by her choice. And I asked her, I said, why you do that? She said, because you're worth it. She said, I wouldn't do it if you weren't worth it, but you are worth it. So that's why I do it. She said, now when you stop being worth it, I stop doing it. My wife got a smart mom. No warning label, bro. I'm telling you, I put warning labels on myself, bro. Because I am not an easy person to deal with, bro. My bad, bro. I'm reading the comments now. When I be cooking, I just be cooking. I know I didn't mind. Then that's some sad shit. Yeah, bro. I mean, even with guys, man. Like growing up in the hood in that environment, bro, like in the street, it's hard to trust people, right? It's hard to trust people. And I used to give it to people until they showed me they wasn't worth it or they didn't value it, right? And then I had to stop doing that because I realized like that's still giving people opportunity to do me dirty. I still give them a little, and that's all. That's all it needs is a little opportunity for somebody to do you dirty. And ain't no restart or extra lives in real life. So I even had to stop doing that. And I realized, like, if a person is genuine, they know, like, they have to earn this. Like, they have to, it ain't something you just give it away because they not giving theirs away. Like, if a person has to earn trust, they gonna make other people earn it from them too. And they wouldn't mind because they know that's the process. That's the proper process. That's the proper process to go through to gain trust, is to earn it, you know. So if a person is genuine, they know the same thing. So like when I first meet somebody, you never hear me like I may say it as cliche, like, oh, trust me if I'm talking about a specific thing. But overall, I wouldn't tell nobody just to trust me. I don't even tell people I'm trustworthy. I'd rather show you than tell you because I can tell you anything. And like I said, it's predicated upon your experience. And this is how like I look at myself and I know what's when I look at myself, I know what other people are capable of, right? Because I'm unique. Even to myself, I'm unique. I do things I don't see done often. I used to question myself, but now I don't. But anyway, so when it comes to like trust, I never assume or I even want people to trust me right off the bat. I enjoy showing people that I'm trustworthy. I enjoy showing it. It's about the journey. So I understand like if I'm really like want to establish some type of relationship with someone, I know it's a process. And I enjoy that process because during that process I learn about myself and I learn about other people. So I understand that's a process. So I don't even trip on that, right? If someone don't trust me right off the bat, I don't trip on that. Now, if it's like 2, 3 years later and you don't trust me, I'll be like, damn, did I not give them a reason to? Did I not show them? And then even then, I question myself versus questioning the person because ultimately, I know if another person, a person who can't trust can't be trusted. A person incapable of trusting someone, they can't be trusted themselves. I know that for a fact. So certain things, I don't even argue that. I have no idea what I'm doing in my life. So man, hey, listen, Mom, that's why I'm here. That's what I do in real life. I'm a life coach. There's some conversations I have with people. You can hit me up on Discord one day. I have to get your Discord. Hit me up on, I was about to say on Discord one day. We just have a conversation, and I don't tell people what to do. I help people identify, you know, short but shorty. We all need the short but from what I can tell. You know what, man? Sometimes a total good person will see an opportunity and go for it. I don't know what that part was referring to. Nowadays, women use sex to lure guy. Yeah, women use sex, men use money. You know, they use. I mean, both of them use it to manipulate the other. But yeah, that's gonna go on until the end of time. That's just something that exists. That's what I'm talking about, like perception. Like there's a lot of things that we look at it like what is it called? Normative ethics. I think it's called normative ethics and philosophy. When we view things how they should be or how they ought to be versus how they are. We all got this idea of how things should go or how things should be, expectations, if you will. We all have expectations. And when we receive what we don't expect, that's when the conflict comes in. You can either accept reality for what it is, or you can start building these delusional perceptions about things. And that's often what happens because it's deeper than that. Because then we have to talk about the ego. That's probably going to be another show. But why do people build delusional perception? It's because of undeveloped ego. Your ego is not there to work against you. It's actually there to protect you. The problem is people don't mature and develop their ego. So it protects you from things that don't feel good versus things that's detrimental to you. Just because something don't feel good don't make it ain't don't mean it is, that it's bad. Just because it don't feel, no one likes to hear they failed at something. But how would you develop or work harder or gain abilities if you don't hear you fail? If every time you fail at something, somebody pat you on the back and said, "Oh, it's okay, it's all right," participation trophy. How would you work harder or get better if you don't fail? We perceive failure as something bad when it can be something great. Failure is just you just didn't get it. Now, there's reasons why you didn't get it. Maybe you wasn't ready for the opportunity. Maybe you didn't have the right skills. Maybe you didn't have the right abilities. Maybe you ain't had the right knowledge. So if you know what you don't got the first time when you fail, you can go back and get it. So when you try again, you'll be more successful. You have a better chance at succeeding. If you properly equipped for the opportunity. So we build a delusional perception that failure is something bad when it's really not. Failure is just showing you where you at right now, yeah, and how far you got to go to get where you want. That's all it is. Turn to a lion's man. Does reverse psychology work? I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, yeah. Reverse psychology is one of the best tools um, that if you want to manipulate a situation or a person, reverse psychology is great, but it's so broad, you know. It's so broad. Like when you say reverse psychology, psychology is deep. So it's different methods and tactics you can use for reverse psychology, but it's very effective. Reverse psychology can definitely be effective. Um, One of the most effective tools of manipulation is reverse psychology. Gaslighting is a form of reverse psychology. Some folks are too obvious. I think a man, woman with enough smarts can catch on. Yeah, but see, it's this is the thing when, especially when it comes to psychology. What you don't know is what is the tool of other people. Is the tool other people use. Right. So if you don't know what a narcissist is, and I give you an example of what a narcissist is, and you take that wholeheartedly, I can be lying to you. So I can be a narcissist telling you what it is. You think I'm gonna tell you what I am? No. So now I can form your perception. So you will be looking out for everyone besides me. You'll be looking, oh, this person is a narcissist, this person is a narcissist, when I'm the real narcissist, you know. So when it comes to psychology, most people who go to community college and take a class are more effective than a person who doesn't. They can become master manipulators over someone who doesn't know. Like if you don't know what love bombing is and somebody doing it to you, you can't identify it. If you don't know what gaslighting is and somebody doing it to you, you can't identify it. So you're going to be effective using it. So you're going to prevail over them. They don't even know what the fuck it is. That's like when people use these terms, I don't be trying to be an a-hole, but oftentimes I give them instructive criticism. I tell them how to use it the right way. Even this conversation, most people, it'd be hard for them to accept they have a delusional perception, but I guarantee you probably 90% of the people do. I can guarantee you we all do on some level. It might be the way we choose to view a friend or family member, justifying bad behavior they do, making excuses for what they do. That's delusional perception because we're not accepting what things are. We're creating a falsehood to make things okay. Why? Because it makes us feel good. It makes us feel better about the situation or the person. But if a person is an asshole, they're just an asshole. If a person ain't right, they just ain't right. There's no excuse for it. No excuse for bad behavior. Because if you make excuse for bad behavior, you're okay in it. I forget who I was talking to, but I was like, damn, man, it was a lot of pedos around when I was younger because a lot of the older dudes around me was trying to bang chicks my age. And they grown. I mean, going to high school, it was grown men picking up chicks from school. And that was normal. No one, people knew what was going on. No one said nothing. That was accepted behavior back then. Now that I'm older, now that I'm a father, I'm like, hell no, that ain't. But back then, I'm not going to say I didn't know, I didn't know what grooming was. I didn't know that was a whole process. We used to be like, man, that shit ain't fair, bro. We ain't even got a chance with this chick because she messing with this dude who out here in the streets hustling. He grown, he got a car, he got an apartment. I can't compete with that. I live with my mama. That's how we were thinking as kids. Now that I'm older, my brain matured, I see it for what it was. And when I talk about it now, I don't justify it. No, I say it's fucked up. I wasn't aware of it the way I am now. But it's no justifying that. It's no justifying that behavior. It's not okay to say, "Oh, that's just how it was," or everybody. No, it was fucked up, and you have to learn from that so it won't repeat itself. That cycle can end, and it's uncomfortable sometimes to face reality. Hey, this is just what it is. It's hard to accept it sometimes, but it's necessary because what comes behind that can be not only detrimental to you, but people you love. Could be people you love, man. But we got to stop doing that. I gotta rip on my boy. I gotta rip on D Shep. Like last time I was live, we was talking about like Trump, and I was just saying like his behavior is unbecoming of a president. We ain't never had a president act like this. He was like, yeah, but you ain't looking at it. No, bro. Look, we can agree. We can agree. It's not ideal for the person representing our country to act the way he act. We can agree with that. I'm not comparing them to Obama. I'm not comparing them to. I'm not comparing them to Biden. No, but I'm not comparing. No, I'm talking about him. It's unbecoming of a president the way he talk and the way he handles stuff. Sometimes it's unbecoming. It's not ideal. That's not a standard that we want to set. We can say that and be okay with it. Not saying that he didn't get stuff done. Not saying that some of the stuff he do is right. No, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about his behavior. But as soon as you do that, people start justifying, well, Biden did this or nobody said this when that's what I'm talking about. That's the delusion shit. You can't even say what somebody if you say I did something wrong and I start making excuses, I'm not gonna correct that. I'm not gonna correct it. So if I do something wrong, instead of making an excuse, I'd be like, damn, okay, I gotta do better. And the next opportunity I get, I do better. It's not hard, it's not rocket science. But that's one of the issues we have in society today because we like somebody, because we don't like somebody else that's against this person. We just go rogue. No, man, it's okay to say, hey, this person needs to do better. That's accountability. But you can't hold people accountable and things can't change if you keep making excuses. And that's on a large scale. But then you even look at yourself. There's oftentimes when I was younger, I used to say, well, if they didn't do this, I wouldn't have did this. That's justifying bad behavior. Because if they can make me jump or crash out for doing that, the next person can do that too. So I need to fix myself because I can't stop what other people say or do, but I can work on me. That's what I can do. That's what we all can do is work on self. You can't control everybody else, but you can control yourself. You can control yourself. So that's something that I had to learn. Instead of responding or reacting to other people, I had to I had to go in myself. Like if I'm somewhere and something is getting to me, maybe I don't need to be there. I can't make the people in this environment conform to make me feel comfortable. Often people want other people to do that. They want other people to make them comfortable. And when you start catering to that, guess what? They ain't gonna never be complete. They ain't gonna never be satisfied. Never. They gonna want more and more and more and more. You can't make people happy if it ain't in them, bro. Can't do it. Can't make everybody else happy. So if I'm somewhere where I ain't feeling the vibe, then I just excuse myself. Before well, people ought to do this, people ought to do that, man. You can't control what people do, bro. If it ain't your shit, it ain't your shit. Can't control it. Now, over here, I got a certain decorum. And the people don't adhere to that decorum, then you can go. No problem. I ain't got to get loud or crazy or none of that. You just go. See it. That's what I can control. I can control my environment. I can control myself and my environment. And once I can't control my environment, then we got a problem. It's a problem. And he went off on me. That guy sucks. Man, look, I like Speak. I ain't got nothing bad to say about him. But I say it like this, though. Um, everybody, everybody ain't for everybody. And Speak he unique, man. He unique, and when I'm over there, I just chill. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, like the way they debate, I'm not into the yelling and the screaming. I ain't into people cutting me off or nothing like that. I'm into information. That's what I'm into. So that's why you'll never really see me on the panel when they debating or nothing like that. I wouldn't even, you know, it's just not my cup of tea. But yeah, yeah, I don't agree with uh, a lot of the perspectives uh, but you know what I'm saying. That's his area. That's the way he do things. So, like I said, like I had to learn. Like I can't go along to get along. Right? I can't do it. If I don't believe in something, if I don't, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't. Yeah, yeah, it's not my cup. I just left after I trolled him for a while. Riders, what up, sis? What up? Yeah, it's yeah, yeah. You would have to. You gotta. I don't even know how to say it. You just it's just certain is is some like I said. Sometimes everybody ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, me personally, I just don't accept things I don't accept. So I understand how, you know what I'm saying? Like when you say you just love, if you don't accept it, then don't stay there. You know what I'm saying? That's their space. That's what, how they handle things over there. Or, um, everybody built different, right? Everybody built different. Oh, no, I ain't worried about no drama. No, I ain't worried about no drama. No, it's just like even when I really don't have anything bad to say about the guy, but I can see how certain personalities don't mesh with his. You know, I can definitely see like how um, certain the personalities they don't mesh well. You know, I can see. I mean, it's on display. It ain't something you gotta. You know what I'm saying? and it's rough over there. Like you gotta like it's rough over there, and it depends on what you like. Like some good people who supported me that came from over there. You know what I'm saying? I met Saint over there. Shout out to my nine. I hope he good down under. King Blackout. I met some good people from over there. I had some good conversations with them. You know, I had some good conversations with them. And see that's how like I love your personality though, my I love your personality. So that's why like even if you say something smart or condescending, I know it's all love. Some people don't view it that way. You know what I'm saying? You have a very and when I say this, don't take it the wrong way, but you have a childlike spirit, like meaning you want to have fun and you want to laugh, and that's always refreshing to have around you. I love people like that because I'm like that. Like if you hear me on a daily basis, I fuck with my wife all day, all day. Like if I was talking to Gary or Tay, they'd be like, "Man, bro, she go get you. She go pop." Tay always say that. Oh, she go punch you because I'm always fucking with her. So I got a very childlike spirit. Like I like to have fun and make people laugh. I like to joke and prank. I do all that, man. That's why like me with kids is a blessing because I fuck with them all day and they don't know nothing. So I like amazing them. Like I do little science thing with my son, and he be like, "Oh my god, Dad, how you do that?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm the man. Like I know magic or something." Yeah, but some people don't appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Not saying he don't. I'm just saying like, you know, uh, and that's predicated upon again perception. How people choose to look at things, right? Like I can feel people's intent. I know when people coming at me with malice and when people just having fun. Like the first time I met D Shep, he talked about like, man, if I had to listen to him a minute longer, I'm knock my noodles out. And my people was like, "Hey, bro, don't be talking about my guy." I'm like, "Bro, he joking, man. He don't mean nothing by that." He was like, "Man, I was just playing. It was a joke." And I'm like, "I know it wasn't no malice." What up, Nine? The minister, the general of defense, the lady of the nine is in the building. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. What up, Commander? I love saying Commander, man. I'm gonna pay for StreamYard next month. I ain't gonna pay for it this month because I might go live like 2 or 3 more times this month. But I'm gonna get back into it next month, or really after like May and May. I'm gonna get back to it. But yeah, so the solution to the topic is just like when we talk about belief. If y'all heard my ideology on belief, belief is there to get you to the knowing aspect, meaning you have to evolve your belief into knowing. So it take work, right? We believe in things to know things. It's a process. So you have a perception that's raw information coming in and you making sense of the world around you with that raw information. But you have to develop it to a perspective, meaning yeah. Yeah, I can open the gate for you. I didn't know you woke up, pretty girl. What are you doing wrong? What are you doing wrong? You're supposed to be asleep. You're supposed to be asleep, mama. I know she was a good at it. But yeah, so the remedy is to develop. And this is the thing. This is the easiest way to develop, to accept things for what they are. Like I said, the delusion aspect comes in because you see things and it don't feel good. That's what makes things so hard to accept because it doesn't feel good. But that doesn't mean it ain't good because it don't feel good. But because something doesn't feel good, we will create or make excuses or justify something that feels better. Like I was saying, like with the young kid thing, a lot of people, even like with family members, right? Sometimes because a family member may not be ideal or may be embarrassing, we try to hide or um, make. No, what can be this one? Okay, but I gotta make sure it's hooked up. Hold on. My bad. Let me just hook this up for my daughter real quick, cause she gonna be blasting whatever she watching. No, we ain't trying to sign into the TV. Okay, let me just play it to see if the headphones work. Or I gotta set the headphones up. Okay. Okay, they working. Okay, sit right there. You can watch whatever you want right there. Until we about to go to bed though. Okay, my bad, yo. Yeah, I gotta make sure my baby bop is alright. But because things don't feel good or because it's not an ideal situation or circumstance, sometimes we will make a justification or excuse so it can feel better instead of accepting things for what they are. Because once you accept it, then you can correct it. But it will never be corrected if you don't accept things for what they are. So even if that's something about yourself, right? Especially if it's something about yourself, maybe you like, I procrastinate too much. Okay, don't make excuses for your procrastination. Just say, hey, I do this, I need to do better. And the next opportunity you get, do better. That's it. You can correct it by accepting it. But if you keep justifying or making excuses, you're going to keep procrastinating. You're going to keep procrastinating. Like, even if you get weight issues, if you don't accept it, you keep making excuses, you're going to continue having weight issues. If it's maybe I'm just throwing things out there now, right? But it's something that you don't like about yourself. Uh, say if it's uh, say if it's your financial situation. Okay, if you keep making excuses, well, mama didn't leave me this, daddy didn't leave me this, they didn't put me through school, they didn't do. If you keep making excuses or justifications on why you're not financially where you want to be, you're never going to get there. You're never going to make the adjustments to get there. You're not going to say, hey, you know what? I bullshit the front half of my life, but I see the results of that. So let me put some more work in. Let me go back to school. Let me learn a trade. Let me learn something. You have to do better to get better. So if you ain't willing to do better, you ain't gonna never get better. But you have to accept it. I hear so many people saying because their parents didn't do this or my parents didn't teach. Okay, they didn't teach you or give you that. That don't mean you can't get it for yourself now. It was things that my parents couldn't do for me, but I did it for myself. I had to learn on my own, and I don't fault them for that. I don't make excuses. Well, my mama didn't do it. My daddy didn't. No, I did it on my own. I can look at what people did wrong. Like far as like even my parents, like the way I'm gonna use my pops. My pops got 6 kids by 4 women. Right. The youngest is, I mean, the oldest is me. He had me when he was 16. So I seen what he went through dealing with multiple baby mamas, not being in the same home as this kid, not being married when he had kids. Even when he got married and had kids, it was still issues. But I was able to look at the mistakes he made and not make those same mistakes. So even by default, I still learned from my dad. He still taught me things. By doing the wrong thing, I learned how to do the right thing. So yeah, he didn't give me the best example for this, but I still learned from his mistakes. So it's not always about what other people can do for you, it's about what you can do for yourself. But again, that's a delusion people built to make themselves feel better. That my parents didn't do this, my parents didn't do that, this didn't happen, that didn't happen. I used to hear all the time people like growing up, oh, they didn't finish high school or go to college because they had kids. I used to hear that all the time. Then my sister at the University of Michigan had her first kid her freshman year. And a couple years ago, she graduated with her PhD in psychology and education. Not at a community college, but at a big university. So she had kids while she was in school. It didn't stop her or prevent her from obtaining what she wanted. So I built a different perception and I understood sometimes because of certain people's circumstances, they can't finish school, but that's not everyone. That's not everyone. Because if there's a will, then there's a way. I seen my best friend, she became a nurse. She just graduated with her master's degree in nursing. She just graduated with her master's degree. She going for her PhD in science and something. But she had her kids, and she took the long route. She became a CNA, then an LPN, and then now she a nurse, a registered nurse, a RN. And I remember her traveling to another state. She used to drive. We in Michigan, but she used to drive an hour and a half just to go to school because that's the only place they offered that LPN program. If there's a will, there's a way. The problem is a lot of times people don't have that will, so they never make a way. You know that's sometimes not gonna say everyone, but if you have a big enough will, a big enough desire, you'll pave your own way. You wouldn't wait for somebody to illuminate the path. You get a stick and some fire and illuminate it yourself. That's if you want to, though. That's something within people. Some people got it, some people don't. That's just the reality of it. So that's why oftentimes I don't push people because I know everybody ain't built for it. Everybody can't do it, and that's okay. It's not, it's just not for everybody. We all design differently, man, for different things. Sometimes people get into things that they ain't supposed to be in. That's why they fail. That's why they fail. You know, you got weight emergency. I ain't talking to you, Mr. Mind. You ain't got no weight emergency. But that's the hardest thing to do, is to accept things for what they are. You know, and like I was saying, the fair aspect of life. Life ain't really. Life wasn't created to be fair to anybody. It just wasn't. So no, some people will have it good, some people will have it bad. Some people will have a balance of both. Some people may never experience hardship in life. Some people that might be all they experience is hardship. That's just how life is set up. Life is not fair. But me, I've learned do not attach emotions to things that I don't want to say control, but I have no control over. I don't attach my emotions to things that I don't have control over. And that way I can develop perceptions, perspectives about things, and I won't fall into that perception aspect. Even my perception is probably more, uh, yeah, even my perception is probably more detailed than most. But yeah, but that's the biggest delusion people. That's the biggest deception people will ever face in life is their own perception. Because if you if you have if you develop the skills to adequately analyze things, it'll be very difficult for people to manipulate you. It'll be very difficult. Like I won't sit up here and say I can't be manipulated. It's just highly probable I won't get manipulated. Highly probable that it won't happen to me. Not saying it can't, because I know it can. I'm aware that it can. That's why it probably won't happen. Because I'll be looking for it. I understand and I'm aware it will happen. It can happen. You know, some people go through life thinking, oh, this won't happen to me, that won't happen to me. I ain't one of them people. I'm one of them people that know shit happened because I've been through shit. So I know bad shit happen at the drop of a dime. It'll take years and years to build something, like a building, for example. Think about how long it takes to build a skyscraper, and then one storm can come knock it out in a matter of seconds. I know that can happen. I done seen it happen. So it's like you can be building yourself up to be a perfect human being, doing the right thing all the time, and one thing can happen, and your ass locked up for the rest of your life. One little incident can happen, and now you done lost your freedom. I done seen that happen to people. Like I got a close friend, you know, went to one of the prominent schools in Michigan, graduated with honors. Yeah, everybody loved him. Um, he was like a playboy though, right? He was always like he was a playboy, and he went down to Florida. He got with this chick, and I don't know what happened, but he shot a gun at her. Right? They got into. I know they was living together, and I don't know what happened, but long story short, I think he caught her cheating or something, and she was driving away, and he shot a gun at her car. That boy doing 10 to 15 behind that. Never been in trouble his whole life. And like I said, it was odd because he was a playboy. He used to have women chasing him, women busting out his windows and shit like that. But now he doing it, and you know you can rack it up to karma. But the reason I told that story is because it only take one incident to throw everything away that you worked hard for. Take one incident, and I know that um, I'm not going to use the term lucky. I'm not going to use the term blessed. That I was destined to be where I am right now because I did a lot of stupid stuff that I probably could have got my freedom taken or lost my life, but I'm still here. So it has to be destiny. It has to be. It was written like that. That I experienced those things or those incidents because I learned from every one of them. I never really made the same mistake twice. I probably can name a couple times I did, but not often. I didn't often make the same mistakes twice. That's because I learned from my experiences. I didn't build a bias or delusional perception of what I experienced. I knew it's always variables involved. You know, just because I experienced it this way, don't mean the next time I'm experienced it the same way. Not how it worked. But I understood that. So I never solidified an idea off of one experience that I had. This is how things are because this happened this way. No, I know there's variables involved. I know there's variables involved. So good times go fast. You know what, man? I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to think like that until I start having them when until good times became normal. You know, until the good times because I just identified what was good and I started appreciating the little things. And those little things, it's like a grain of sand. You know, by itself is insignificant, right? But you put it with a bunch of other grains of sands. I mean, the shit can suffocate you. You know, you can create a beach, but one grain of sand is nothing. So all those small moments, it's like even with my kids, like all these all the time I spend with my kids, that shit add up. So even when I'm feeling bad, I just think about my babies. An instant change of the way I feel. Instant change. That's like, when I lost somebody. This is something I used to do, and it just happens naturally now. But I used to have to do this on purpose. But like, I lost a lot of friends, and when I start losing like close family members, you hurt, especially how you establish or how deep your friendship was. It hurt, but I was a kid. But when I start losing, like when I lost my grandma, that shit kind of shocked my brain for a minute because that was like at that time was the closest person to me. She raised me, and I needed like I when I love you, baby.
Yeah,
Yes,
I love you.
I love you.
No, you.
No, I love you. This is my partner in crime right here. But
I love my daddy.
you love your daddy, then daddy love you. But when I lost my grandma, it kind of shocked my brain. And I was missing her so much. I just started thinking about all the fun times we had. And the more I thought about the fun I had with her, the less pain I felt. So I tend to do that now. Like when people pass away or I started thinking about all the good, and I can't be sad because those times meant so much to me, you know, and but that too, I appreciate those times. I think that's another thing too. Like I'm grateful for the experiences that I had, and that's probably because I was out of here a couple times, and I understand. I look at life a little different. Every second is precious to me because I mean, when it's gone, it's gone. Like when you're done, you're done. You know, and when you have to face that reality, like Nate, when I came back, it's like I really understood, like, damn, this shit could have really been over and done. So I began to be grateful. I live in that state of gratitude. Even when I go through some bad shit, it's like shit, at least I had the opportunity to experience that. Because a lot of people don't. Every when I feel pain, I'll be like, I don't get sad and depressed. I'll be like, damn, man, I can feel this shit. It's people who don't feel this, who can't feel it no more, who wish they can feel this pain just for a moment because they'd be alive. And I could do more with this pain and alive than I can do not feeling it and dead. And when I had something to be even more grateful for, like my wife and my kids, it's like time becomes more precious. That's I never understood. Like I know. I mean, I can sum it up to like underdeveloped sexual, uh, like a person's undeveloped sexual prowess. I mean, you can equate it to that. But it's like, why build a family and then go cheat, men or women? Like you throwing away everything that you built. That's what I'm talking about. It only take one incident, one set. So it's like if I asked my wife to marry me, I had kids with her, and then I'm gonna just say fuck it for a moment because a girl got a fat butt. I'm straight. Like it was hard to get where I'm at, and it'd be even harder to get back here if I lose it. If I lose it, it'd be even harder. So those moments of weakness, I equate it to people's undeveloped sexual um, prowess. I mean, it's people. It's like you can't control yourself. That's what I equate it to. And there's reasons why. Everybody probably had a different reason why they cheat, but ultimately it's like, bro, I ain't about to sit up here. You didn't got a mortgage with this person, y'all got a split property, all because and then the person you cheated with, you ain't even with that person long. I done seen that happen so many times. Like, damn, if you was gonna cheat with the person, I thought y'all was gonna go on and have a life together, but shit, y'all chill. Like sometimes the thrill be in the cheat, because this person's with somebody else. That's where the thrill comes from, like taking somebody else's shit. So I mean, people do the same thing for different reasons, but I knew a girl who did that. She liked to fuck around with married men, and one dude left, and she was like, "I'm straight. I like you because you married. Now you ain't married. I don't want you." I'm like, "Damn, you cold." But that is people like that. So there's people like that. But yeah, this was a you laughing, Commander. This was an unconventional live. I ain't got my bells and whistles, so I can't end or start the show the way I wanted to. But I don't know if the link is pinned or if it was pinned, but nobody came up. I am about to get is pinned. I am about to get my behind off here. Uh, I'm celebrating my anniversary early. My anniversary ain't to the 31st of March, but me and the wife going away for like a little getaway for the weekend. So, and even though we only gone for 2 days, it's like my wife's packed like we go be gone for a month. So I got to get up and we got to go shopping and all this stuff because my parents coming over and they go had the kids and the dog. So my wife is like, she like, what y'all want me to cook? Is they like, just leave. I told her just fill up the refrigerator. You know, they grown folks. They can get whatever they want. They know how to cook. Shit, we got 2 air fryers, an oven, a stove. They good. They can make whatever. You know. But yeah, I got to get up and get the house set up for them. Take some stuff away because my kids know where other things at that my parents don't, and so they'd be ducked off getting into shit they don't even know about. So, but I did want to. I meant to have this conversation a couple weeks ago, and I got notes on it, so I'm probably gonna do it again, more structured. I just came on here kind of talking, but yeah, self evaluation, man. Do a self check and see is some of your perceptions lead into that delusional aspect. Do you justify or make excuses for things that uh, because you like a person or because you like something, do you justify it or making excuses because the way you feel about it, um, or because you know we have to do a self evaluation. If you want to do better, if you want to get better, you got to do better. That's just what it is. If you want to get better, you got to do better. And that's all. That's something we all can do. And it's a process. Nothing happens overnight. And the things to do usually ain't stable. So it's a process. And it don't feel good to see where you at and how far you got to go at first. But once you start the journey and the distance becomes shorter, then it becomes more tolerable. But is this something that we need to do? Do we have delusional perceptions about things? That's like this, right? Let me throw this one out there because I know if people hear this, they'll try to debate it, right? And this is being debated because I think I think I was watching your live mod when Andrew Wilson was talking about women voting, how women shouldn't vote because. But think about this, like even from that aspect, they say women shouldn't vote because men are the head of the house and men are the protectors, and they came up with a whole bunch of reasons why women shouldn't vote. They come up, and this is one of the talking points they always use. When they say men provide safety for women, right? When they say because men create this safe space or man built this or man built that, this is what this is the easiest way to shut that down. I'm not saying women are capable of doing everything men can do, but you do have exceptions to the rules. There are women in our U.S. military. There are women cops who can they do what a man do? No, but they still doing the job. But this is the factor: all men can't do that. All men aren't capable of creating, building, or protecting. All men can't do it. All men don't protect women. All men ain't out there building the infrastructure. All men ain't doing it. But you do have some women who do. So what is the equivalent to the man who can do it and the women who, to the man who can't do it and the women who can? Like, so the men who can't adhere to the standard are men, are they still men or are they now women? So should those people not be able to vote? This is why, like, a lot of their arguments they is based upon emotion. It's based upon emotion. They say men or women can't do this, women can't do that. Women, men provide protection for women. They say all this bullshit, but all men aren't capable of that. So are those men equivalent to women? And the women who can do it, are they now equivalent to men? So where's the conversation? Where's the argument at? There's no argument. There's some men out here who aren't capable of changing a fucking tire. But because they're men, should they still get that accolade? No. Like it kind of fucked me up when old boy couldn't open a pickle jar. I ain't about to talk about that. But I'm like, bro, all men aren't the standard of men that they well, men do this, men do that. It'd be a lot of people who ain't contributing shit trying to take the accolades of other people. A lot of those dudes who be sitting there debating women shouldn't do this, women shouldn't do that. I would treat them like women. To me, they're like fucking women. Dudes be like 5'5", 5'6". Like, bro, you a female to me. To me, you a female. You're not capable of doing what I can do. But you trying to say women can't do this shit? That shit sound asinine to me. A lot of the dudes who be arguing against the rights of women, like I will fold you, bro, and literally put you in my pocket. Like you're not a man's man. But because you're a male, you have male parts, you think automatically better than a female? Nah, bro. Nah. They ain't built for it. But you feel me, ma? I be listening to these conversations and I be like, man, what kind of women did y'all grow up around? Like the women I grew up around, they was hunting, fishing with her, out there working on tractors and cars and shit. So I've been around some badass females, man, who can do shit that most men can't do. But because you haven't, then you think you have this perception that women are useless. And I be thinking like, who y'all like what type of women are y'all with? I be thinking that like you around some weak ass women. Like I'm around strong women, but they still recognize me as the man. They still defer to me because they know I'm a bad motherfucker. But these dudes be having these problems with women being submissive. Maybe you're not worthy for her to submit. Maybe you don't produce anything for her to be submissive. Like that should be sounding crazy. All these reasons, like these dudes, like who, like it sounds like these dudes be coming up with different reasons to suppress women. Like, do you feel like women are? I don't even feel like women are a threat to me for me to have to suppress them. I feel like, I mean, you feel like when you want to suppress something, it's because it's a threat. It's because it's a threat. Like I don't have the problems that most men like. Even though I don't have like my wife, we joke around. My wife talks shit, but she don't come at me aggressively. I don't have that issue. I don't have that problem. Have I dated women who did it? Yeah, and I realized I shouldn't be with them. That's me taking accountability and responsibility about who I fuck with. I don't need a woman to be submissive because I want her to. My actions give her a reason to. The things I do, who I am, it give her a reason to. It's women I'm not married to who are submissive around me. Not even married to them. But when they come around me, their attitude's different. They don't talk. You know what I'm saying? They that's because of what I produce demands it. Well, I'm not gonna say demands it, it commands it. So I don't have those issues. If a woman is popping her gums at me, kick rocks. I'm not about to sit here and talk to no masculine ass woman, I'm good. If you can't change that shit, you don't need to be around me. Flat and simple. Not discussing it, not arguing it. You're not going to behave like that around me for no reason. Just not taking it. I'm not about to sit here and argue with you. I don't even deal with people like I don't deal with women like that. I'm good. I know my value though. Like I said, a lot of people want other people to conform to them to make them feel better. No, I don't need you to conform to me. But if you don't, you ain't gonna be around me. Not doing that shit. Just not. It's an etiquette, a decorum one should have. But um, if that's just who a person is, then that's who they go be. Yeah, a lot of that. That's how I feel, my like a lot of these dudes. They they got rejected, and now they pissed off at women. I agree with that. I hear men and women like that. It be some women like that too. Ain't no good man around. Maybe you ain't a good person for the good man to be around. You ever thought about that? I told one lady that she got mad as hell on TikTok. She kicked me off her panel. I'm like, well, if it ain't no good men around, maybe you ain't you ain't a valuable woman for good men to be around. She's like, oh my, and kicked me off the panel. I'm like, see, shit like that. I can't even critique you. What happens if you are out and you have to stand? Wait, what? Who couldn't open a pickle jar? Andrew? Yeah, he couldn't open a pickle jar. You okay? Them guys have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Huh?
I'm hungry.
You hungry?
Yeah.
It's too late to eat, mama. Yeah, man. People don't like to be critiqued. You know, I'm used to it. I'm used to being critiqued and told what I'm doing wrong. But it don't. I don't like when somebody tell me I did something or doing something wrong. I want to do it right. So it don't. It don't. I don't take a blow to the ego. Somebody say, "Hey, you doing it wrong." I'd be like, "Well, shit, how you do it right?" You know, if I'm doing it wrong, show me how to do it right. You know, it don't. You know, my ego don't kick in. You know, so I'm open to being corrected, which everyone should be. But I understand. Sometimes it's difficult. You know, depending on where a person at in life, it can be difficult to be corrected. But I rather be corrected that way. I do it right than keep doing it wrong. So I mean, that just makes sense to me. You know, if I'm doing something wrong, be open to learn how to do it right. And if I'm there's multiple ways to do things. So I may think I know something, but if somebody can do it better, more effective, and efficiently, then I'm gonna listen to them. You know, uh, I do take like when somebody telling me I'm doing something wrong but can't tell me how I'm doing it right. I do kind of look at that sideways. Like how you know if I'm doing something wrong if you don't know how to do it right. I do look at that sideways. But ultimately, you know, especially if they got right information or if they got information, then I can observe it and analyze it for myself to see if it's fruitful or not. You know. Uh, but yeah, let me get my butt off here, man. I appreciate y'all, man. We're gonna be back. I'm gonna be back sometime this month. I don't know when. Probably sometime next week. I'll pop back up. But definitely, I'm gonna have a 3 day three day schedule in May. Probably gonna go live Tuesday, Thursday, and a day on the weekend. Um, so I am gonna commit to 3 days a week in May. I'm gonna commit to that 3 days a week. But right now it's kind of sporadic when I got time. You know, I didn't expect little mama to wake up, but I didn't plan on being on here long. Did I take the garbage to the front? Yeah, I got the garbage out. I got to take this table out in the basement. I got to take the legs off of it. just to get it up the stairs. But let me get my butt off here, man. I appreciate y'all, man, rocking out with me, having this conversation. This was fun. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I try to, put a little humor or, be a little interactive in the conversation. I know I can be dull sometimes when I'm talking about stuff, and like this was kind of like thrown together anyway. But I do got a structured show for this, where I want to break certain aspects of what I'm saying down. So when I can commit, I had a little slides and everything. It did not go the way I thought it was. Tay probably fell asleep, but she was supposed to come up and rock out with me. But 9 times out of 10, she fell asleep. But yeah, we'll be back. But y'all know what I always say, man. Care about how you feel. These are conversations to build nations. And if I say anything to resonate with you, do me a favor, hit that share button. Tell somebody, help me spread the word. But until next time, we's are out.